HCAM TV thanks you for watching this presentation. We'd love for you to become a member and use your creativity at our station. Please visit hinghammedia.org or call us at 781-836-5094 if you'd like to learn more.
So really what I want to focus on today is just helping you understand what clean eating is, what it means. I think it means different things for different people. So there's no really one definitive answer to that. So we're going to focus on that and keeping it simple. So it doesn't need to be complicated. It can be very simple and easy and delicious to eat a clean, healthy diet. So the first thing I just want to start off by talking about is what is clean eating. So I have a little acronym that I came up with to explain some different ideas that you should incorporate into your diet if you want to eat a clean diet. And so first of all, let's take the word clean. So the C is going to stand for check your labels. So check your labels of your food. Just because something is packaged as being all natural or good for you, it could be deceiving. So you really want to be aware of the ingredients on your labels. You want to look for foods that have fewer ingredients. So foods that have like 10, 15 ingredients, they're probably filled with lots of chemicals. They may be high in sugar, high in sodium, high in high fructose corn syrup, hydrogenated oils. So you really want to be aware of your labels. If something says whole wheat on it, you might want to check the ingredients because it could have white flour listed as the second main ingredient, even though wheat flour is also in there. So you really want to be aware of what you're putting in your bodies, especially with things like condiments, which you might not think about a lot because you're just putting a little bit on your plate or maybe a lot depending on what you're eating. But so things like ketchup can have lots of sugar in them. So you really want to just be aware of your labels. So the letter L, that stands for low sugar. So you really want to be very conscious of how much sugar you eat. So sugar will spike your blood glucose levels, as probably most of us know. That's going to cause a spike in your insulin. And so if you are constantly spiking your glucose and your insulin, then you could be kind of putting yourself at risk for developing type 2 diabetes, which can lead to other complications and other chronic diseases. So by maintaining a steady blood glucose level throughout the day by eating lower sugar, lower glycemic index foods, you'll be better off. So then the E is going to stand for eat lots of healthy fats and proteins. And so I think that there's kind of there's a shift going on now, but in the past there's been this big kind of dogma of eat low fat. Fat is the bad guy. Eat low fat and high carb, which really is not true. Fat is not the bad guy. Fat's good for you. So there's lots of healthy fats out there. Avocados are loaded with tons of healthy fats, olive oil, coconut oil, nuts and seeds. Those are all great sources of fats that are actually good for you. They're good for your heart. They can reduce your risk of certain diseases. So don't be afraid of fats is a big thing. And of course, so lean proteins, you want to make sure you have enough protein in your diet. So fat and protein together will help you feel fuller longer, so you're not constantly getting hungry. So when you eat a high carbohydrate, low fat, low protein diet, you're probably hungry a lot because you're getting that spike in your glucose and your insulin, and you're not being satiated by fat and protein. And so then the A is going to stand for avoid processed foods. So processed foods are really fake foods. So they're things like candy bars, a bag of chips, a bag of Doritos. I guess those are chips too. But so things like that have ingredients that you probably can't even pronounce. So you want to avoid those as much as you possibly can because they have no nutritional value. They're not going to add anything to your diet, to your health. So you really want to avoid processed foods as much as you can. And then the N is going to stand for nutrient dense. So you want to eat as many nutrient dense foods as you possibly can. So I really like to think of this as you're going to get more bang for your buck when you eat nutrient dense foods. So 100 calories of a Snickers bar has no nutrient density to it, whereas 100 calories of a bowl of kale, you're getting way more bang for your buck by eating the 100 calories worth of kale than the 100 calories worth of candy. So those are just 5 simple principles for you to try to keep in mind when you're making your food choices and when you're deciding, what you're going to buy at the grocery store. I think that kind of simplifies it and keeps it easy. So hopefully, you agree. So you have a bunch of handouts on your chairs. So I just wanted to go over these and start with the shopping list. So you'll see on this list, it's divided by fats, proteins, condiments, produce, and some low glycemic index carbs. So again, I'm emphasizing to avoid those glucose and insulin spikes by eating low glycemic index carbohydrates. So we'll just start the healthy fats. I kind of just went over, your olive oils, your nut butters. These are all good fats to have in your diet. Proteins, you want to think lean proteins most of the time. So lean ground turkey, lean ground beef. Pork tenderloin is also pretty lean. And fish. Fish is a great protein to have in your diet. The produce, basically, I couldn't list every vegetable that is made or grown around the world, but if I could have, I would have. So basically any fruit and vegetable, it's real food. So you want to focus your diet on eating real food. And so you can't go wrong with any fruit or vegetable choice. And then some condiments that I've listed, these are things, most of them you can find here at Whole Foods. They are like the Sir Kensington products, Tessemae's. Tessemae's products are very good. They're Whole30 approved, if anybody has kind of ever heard of that nutrition program. And then other things such as chia seeds, which you will get today in your goodie bag to take home. And coconut flour as well, kind of just some random pantry items that you'll find are useful for a lot of different types of recipes. So does anybody have any questions so far about groceries or anything I've said? Okay. So the next thing I just wanted to go over is the prepping, so prep for success. So this I think a big kind of hurdle to clean eating and eating healthy is the prep. So we want to eat foods that are ready to eat. We're always on the go. We're always busy. Everybody has to be somewhere. So it's hard to fire up your oven and cook up some chicken and some broccoli when you have to be somewhere in 10 minutes. So I think that's the biggest hurdle. If you can just find 1 to 2 hours, maybe one day a week, that will really save you so much. So I usually spend maybe 1 or 2 hours, on a Sunday, roasting a bunch of vegetables, cooking a bunch of proteins, so that my food is ready. So I don't have to come home from work and start from scratch. It makes a difference, and that's really where I think if you can take that time, you'll find that you won't miss those ready-to-eat foods that you were eating in the first place, or maybe you were. But so let's just start with the protein prep for success part. So if you have a crock pot, it's going to be your best friend. I know my crock pot is one of my best friends. You can make shredded chicken. So it's the easiest thing. You can just take chicken breast, put it in your crock pot. You don't need to put a lot on it. You can just put a little olive oil, maybe some salt, pepper, and some garlic, and cook it, and then cook it for about 4 hours. And then you can shred it, and you have a giant crock pot filled with shredded chicken that you can do so many different things with. And so on the next page, we'll kind of go over some different recipe ideas that you can do with the shredded chicken. So if you make this giant 3 pounds of chicken, that really requires very little work on your part. Your crock pot is doing all that work. Then you're really set for the week with all that ready to go protein. Another one of my favorites is taco seasoned ground turkey. So who doesn't like tacos? I think tacos are a really popular food. So the ground turkey, I always get it from the butcher here at Whole Foods. The lean ground turkey, it's all white meat. It is delicious. And I usually season it with the Simply Organic taco seasoning, and it's awesome. So that's usually a lunch and a dinner. If you can just make that and it's ready. It takes maybe 15 minutes to cook it up in a skillet, and it's delicious. So chicken sausage is another easy, ready-to-go protein that I like to have on hand. If you buy the ones that are fully cooked, there's some really good brands that they sell at Whole Foods here. The Applegate sausages are great. Fork in the Road is a newer brand that actually is very good as well. So I like to just I'll take a whole packet of sausages, cut them in half, and cook them, and that might be like my breakfast for the week. So if you can just you think about just having these things ready to go, that will really kind of set you up for success. And eggs, of course, are a great source of protein, and egg yolks are a great source of healthy fats as well. So don't be afraid of an egg yolk. But there's plenty of ways to prep eggs. We all know hard boiling them. You can also cook them in a muffin tin. You can just crack them right into the muffin tin, stick them in your oven, and they'll cook. I also microwave mine sometimes because it's very fast. So don't be afraid to try that. You might want to cover it with a paper towel because I have had eggs explode in my microwave from time to time. And pork tenderloin is another great one. You can make a great pulled pork in your crock pot as well with Tessa May's barbecue sauce, which is a very good, healthy, low sugar barbecue sauce. And then veggies. So veggies are probably one of the most time-consuming things to cook because it involves chopping and peeling. But if you can just take that half hour, that 40 minutes to just stick 2 giant pans of vegetables into your oven, then you have veggies for the week that are ready to go. So you can really set yourself up for success by doing that. Spaghetti squash is one of my favorites. So you think about everything you love to eat pasta with, and you can replace it with spaghetti squash. And you probably won't miss the pasta that much because what you love about eating pasta is whatever you're putting on the pasta. So if you put whatever you put on your pasta, like pesto sauce or maybe a great meat sauce, you're still going to get that same great taste without all the pasta. And so sweet potatoes are another one you can easily prep. You can bake them easily in the oven. You can even cook them in the microwave, which I do pretty often. And again, you can chop them and roast them if you have that time. But even if you don't have time, like I said, the microwave is there for you for sweet potatoes. It's just an easy way to go. And then fats, the good thing about those, all the ones that I listed, they're ready to go. So you can drizzle olive oil on your food. You can melt some coconut oil. You can slice up an avocado. Those are all quick, easy, and tasty. So don't be afraid of those fats. And so then the next thing, the Get Cookin' page. So back to the chicken. So the different 3 ways you can do this. So you can make a great pot of shredded buffalo chicken, which then you could make lettuce wrapped tacos with. You could do tons of different things with it. So you're gonna add some buffalo sauce to the chicken, and there you go, you have buffalo chicken. One of my favorites is I love the sriracha mayonnaise from Sir Kensington's, and I like to mix that with the shredded chicken, and you can make a great chicken salad. And then you can also make soup with it, so don't be afraid to make a pot of soup. That's also pretty easy. You just chop a couple vegetables, throw the chicken in with some chicken broth, a bag of spinach, and you can't go wrong. So it's also easy to always add leafy greens to your meal too. Like sometimes if you have chicken for dinner and a potato, why not just throw it on top of a bed of spinach? Because then you're incorporating more greens into your diet, and you're eating more food, so you'll feel fuller. So another one of my favorite things is the spaghetti squash breakfast bake. So you can make this again, on a Sunday or whatever day works for you, and it could be your breakfast for the week. It's easy, and you just have to heat it up in the microwave, and it's ready to go. So then the smoothies. Smoothies are another thing I love to eat have a ton. So they're easy, they're fast, and you can really pack a ton of nutrition into a smoothie. You can load your smoothie with kale, with spinach, with nuts, with nut butter. So don't be afraid to throw greens into your blender. I do it all the time. And it doesn't alter the taste very much. It's just a really quick and awesome way to get some nutrients into your diet. And then so this last recipe is one of my favorites, the coconut crusted chicken. I think some of you in this room may have had it a couple times. and so it's one of my favorites. If you like coconut and you like chicken, you can't go wrong with that. But so the great thing about this recipe, it's gluten-free, it's grain-free, it's dairy-free. So if you have any food allergies or you're trying to avoid certain aspects of diet, it's a really great recipe to try out, and it really tastes great. So do you guys have any questions about any of this so far? Okay, so then the last thing is, oh yeah.
Yeah, crock pot.
Sure.
Chicken. If you have a crock pot and it has like warm, low, medium, high.
Yes.
Which one would be for 4 hours? Which setting?
So you put it on high for 4 hours.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yep. Alternatively, if you had somewhere to go or maybe you wanted to cook it for longer, you just put it on low, and it will still shred just the same after the 8 hours of being on low.
And if you were making also like what is it, beef shank or something like that, you're making bone broth, would you put that on like a high heat or a low heat for like 8 or 12 hours or something like that?
Yeah, bone broth, you would want to do that probably on a lower heat for a longer time.
Oh,
yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so then, oh yeah.
Question on the cup of mango, is it a mango and you just puree it?
You can do fresh mango or, but no, it'll be chopped, like mango chunks.
Mango.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you could chop it, or what I do sometimes, I just buy a bag of frozen mango chunks, so that way you don't have to worry about, is this mango ripe or not? I can't tell. That way you just have the frozen bag, you can thaw it out, and it's ready to go. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You put like oats and walnuts and stuff into your smoothie. Does it
Yeah.
get like really smooth, or does it like?
So it's a good question. So yeah, you can't really, the walnuts, it doesn't, it's not like chunky, but the oats blend nicely, and even I think they add just a little bit of a nice texture to make it a little more satisfying, and it's just a good way to get them in to your diet, and it's quick. You don't have to cook the oats or anything. You just throw them right in there.
I never thought of like putting any of that.
Yeah. You could make a great like pre or post workout protein shake with like some protein powder, some oats, some fruit. Yeah.
And then I have another question.
Yeah.
Like for condiments, like what makes like these like certain brands like good? So do they just like have like limited like? I started
Yeah.
noticing that there's like more chemicals and like.
Exactly.
Or just, like the ingredient list is really long.
Yes. So yeah, especially like the Sir Kensington's products, they have very few ingredients, like no added sugars or anything like that. They're organic, so they're very, they're healthy. And then the same with the Tessemae's products. Like I said, they don't have sugars. Like a lot of barbecue sauces are loaded with sugar. So the Tessemae's products are really good for that. That they have, no chemicals, no added sugars. So they're much better for you. You can pronounce the ingredients that are in them.
All right.
Yeah, good question. Okay, so then the last little piece here is just a 3-day meal plan. So just to give you some ideas of, what could I eat for each meal? So I kind of just tried to put in some variety here and give you ideas of like things that if you prep them, then they're easy to just go and grab. So you can grab a chicken sausage and a hard-boiled egg and grab some spinach, and that's an easy, quick breakfast. If you make the buffalo chicken, you can just grab some Bib lettuce or some romaine lettuce and make some easy, quick buffalo chicken tacos with it. And then if you have a bunch of sweet potatoes already cooked and your pulled pork just came out of your crock pot, you can stuff that sweet potato with your pulled pork and you're ready to go. So I tried to just keep the recipes here from ideas that I've given you previously with the prep and the cooking, so that you can kind of get an idea of how to put things together. So smoothies, the shredded chicken and veggie soup, and then coconut chicken tenders, and then snacks. So obviously I like to eat. I like snacks. So you gotta have some snacks in there. But so snacks might be one thing that you need something quick, and it's easy to grab a bag of chips or a candy bar. But if you think about it, if you have these things kind of ready to go or in mind, then it's really not that hard to grab a healthy snack quickly. So a banana with nut butter, that's quick. You can grab a banana, you can get a scoop of nut butter, and that's ready. Greek yogurt, so you wanna, if you're gonna eat Greek yogurt, you wanna eat plain Greek yogurt, so you don't wanna buy the fruit flavored ones have lots of added sugars in them, so you wanna try to avoid those added sugars. You can add your own fruit to it, buy the plain style, and then add your own fresh fruit to it, which is much better for you, because then those added sugars are not there. Baby carrots with guacamole, so I mean, who doesn't love guacamole? So you can, do that. Make your own trail mix with your own nuts and oats, chocolate chips, dark chocolate chips. So just some ideas for snacks there that maybe you hadn't thought of them, or maybe that's something you might struggle with, but definitely just wanted to give you some ideas for that. And so that is the rest of the handouts. So I guess I'll go over the products that you guys will get today in your goodie bag as a thank you for coming. So the first one is coconut oil, which is one of the healthy fats that I listed for you today. And so this is a great product because it's super versatile. You can cook with it. You can saute veggies in it. You can put it in your smoothies if you need some fat in your smoothie. You can bake with it. So I make cookies with it pretty often. It's a great product to have on hand, and it's also a very popular skincare product. So people like to put it on their skin, and some people like to put it in their hair as well for skin and hair health. Yeah.
You put that into like a smoothie or a blender. Is that the speed of that going to do anything for the nutrients or the heat?
That's a good question. The heat of the blender, you mean?
Yeah, because it depends on how long it goes. I guess it could heat up, but the spinning part, I wonder if that does anything.
Yeah, I don't know. That is a good question. I hadn't thought about the spinning. I would think that the heat shouldn't really impact it, because if you cook with this, you're going to heat the oil and it's going to melt, and that's not a bad thing. But I hadn't thought about the spinning aspect. So yeah, that's a good point. I guess I don't know, but good question. And so the next product is coconut flour. So this is a great flour. It's gluten-free, it's grain-free, and it's nut-free. So I like to use this a lot, especially when I'm baking or cooking something for my family. So my nephew actually has a nut allergy, so I know if I use coconut flour, it is a safe product. So the great thing about this is that it's high in fiber, which you wouldn't find in your typical white flour, or even like an all-purpose gluten-free flour. It's not high in fiber. So the coconut flour is very high in fiber, and it does have a little bit of fat in it, but that's not a bad thing. So you can bake with this. I make cauliflower crust pizza with it. It has a lot of, you can use it for tons of different things. So it smells really good. When you open this bag, you'll know. So then the last product is chia seeds. So these are probably one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. So they are loaded with fiber, healthy fats. They do have some protein in them as well, which is awesome. And the other good thing about them is that they don't have much of a flavor. So you can add them to basically anything, and it's not going to change the taste of whatever you're eating. So I will put them in cookies sometimes when I'm making cookies, and nobody would know. Yeah. You can put them in smoothies. I'll top my yogurt with chia seeds sometimes. You can make chia pudding, so that's a great thing to have for breakfast that you could easily prep the night before. You can take some coconut milk or almond milk and let it sit in like a mason jar overnight in your fridge with a tablespoon of chia seeds, and it'll have a really nice pudding texture the next morning. And think about what you could add to that. You could add nuts to it. You could add some cocoa powder, some fresh fruit. You could add peanut butter, so to give it more flavor. Because again, the chia seeds themselves don't have too much flavor, but they really pack a great kind of nutrient punch. And this is a huge bag, so you should get some good use out of this. So do you guys have any questions about any of the products or anything I've kind of shared? Yes?
I know that you can't substitute that like 1-for-1. Do you know what the ratio is?
Yeah. So I want to say it's 3-to-1, but yes, you're right. You can't substitute it 1-to-1 because this has so much more fiber. It soaks up the the moisture of whatever you're baking. So usually, I make cookies with this. I put in like 3 tablespoons, and that's it.
I've used it before in recipes, but I've never tried to figure out and I know that you have to kind of let it sit and then mix it again.
Yes,
right?
yes, exactly. So it can be a little bit tricky to figure out the right kind of amounts and stuff. But it's true. You want to mix it and then let it sit a little bit, because you will notice the texture of the batter or whatever you're making will change. So I've done a lot of like experimenting with baking recipes that I've made with it. It takes a couple tries to kind of get it right of the right ratios. I usually try not, a lot of recipes you might see out there using coconut flour, they might mix it with some almond flour, or like tapioca flour or potato starch and things like that. I personally, I try to keep most of my recipes simple. I don't want to have to go out and buy like 5 different types of flour to make a healthy cookie or a cake or something. So I try to just, figure out as quickly as I can, like the best way to utilize a product like this as simply as I could too. So yeah, that's a good point. It's not a one-to-one, but it takes a little trial and error.
So with these 3, is there anything where you could put them together to make something interesting without adding too many other ingredients?
Yes, actually, so I have a great cookie recipe. It's a double chocolate chip cookie recipe. So I use coconut oil as kind of the fat in it. So I don't melt the oil when I make the cookies. I usually keep it at room temperature. So what I do is I mix the coconut oil with coconut palm sugar. Then once that's mixed together, it kind of forms like a nice paste. Like if you're making chocolate chip cookies, you can get the brown sugar and the butter, how it makes a nice, delicious mixture. So kind of like that. And so then what I do is I add cocoa powder, unsweetened cocoa powder for the chocolate aspect of it, coconut flour, and then dark chocolate chips. I usually buy the Ghirardelli 60% dark cocoa, and then some salt, some baking soda, or baking powder, sorry, and I have added chia seeds to that. And so then you get this great double chocolate chip cookie with chia seeds that don't change the flavor. I will say the chia seeds, they kind of add a good little texture to the cookie sometimes. They give you a little bit of like an extra crunch. And so, yeah, that's definitely probably my favorite way to use this. If you're gonna use the 3 of these together, it's on my Instagram. Yeah.
Now, another question, are all those products natural or are they
Yes.
engineered?
No, these are good. You'll be safe eating these.
Pretty close to nature.
Yeah. Yep. No, these. Yeah. So yeah, that was a great question. Anyone else? Yeah.
So it seems like if you were to take clean eating into mind and kind of look at the food pyramid and reform it as you think you should prioritize things when you're figuring out what to eat each day. There's no bread or anything here. Stupid food pyramid tells you to eat base your entire diet on that. So if you had to prioritize what you put into your diet each day, does that make sense?
Yeah.
What would you
So I would put protein as a huge base. Protein and fats probably could go together, and I think it depends on the person for the level of carbohydrates. It depends on the person and their activity level. So somebody who is competitively weightlifting needs a lot more carbohydrates than maybe somebody that exercises, once a week or maybe not often at all. So that's another aspect to consider. But I think the base should definitely be kind of proteins and fats, because that's going to help you feel fuller, longer, and definitely those leafy greens, the good nutrient-dense vegetables. And then there is room for things like sweet potatoes and oats and all those other good things. Good question. Anyone else? Oh, yeah.
If you do a prep with something like the chicken and veggie soup,
Yeah.
that you're making a big batch of it, and then say you're counting out your macronutrients, what's the best way to figure out meals?
So that's a great question. So I use MyFitnessPal to figure out the macros in any recipe. So what you want to do is, if you want to do that, in MyFitnessPal there is like a recipe tab, and you can input your own homemade recipes. So you can say, okay, I made this soup, I put 3 pounds of chicken breast in it, I put 4 cups of carrots, 2 cups of onions, 10 ounces of spinach, and then whatever chicken broth. And then it will upload all that nutrient information for you, like fats, proteins, carbs, sodium, all that type of stuff. And so then what you do is you say, okay, in this pot of soup, I got 6 servings, or however you're gonna portion it out. And so then it will do the math for you. It will say, okay, so if you have 6 servings in this recipe, then the macros for each serving is 10 grams of protein, or however it ends up being for whatever you input. So that's usually what I do to figure out, kind of where I'm at as far as whatever a serving might be. So does that help? Does that answer your question? Good one. All right. So everybody that registered gets a goodie bag. So you can see they're all on the table back here. So definitely don't leave without taking one. So you'll get these 3 products. And so, yeah, thank you all for coming and for your attention. It's great to be here.